going to introduce the play in child. So here is the outline. So the topic of today is what is play and the playfulness. So what the playfulness is very important and crucial for our child. So we want to introduce the characteristics of the play and playfulness and the functions of play in child, and also the definition of play and what play and playfulness means in our child, and it's also used by our OT. So I also will introduce some characteristics and some activities in our child. And the fourth is the prerequisites. So what is the important things for our child in play activities? So what are the prerequisites? And also the second part is the classification of play. What is the classification? I also mentioned there are many theories in our pioneers in OT. They also introduce what the theories in play. So I also will introduce the Piaget's theories of cognitive development. I remember last class I mentioned Piaget. I also mentioned he think about the children will be influenced by their cognition in their play activities. So I will introduce the Piaget's theories, especially in the cognition development in child play. And the second part is the play type. What are the play types? I will introduce some play types, and also in different age range. So especially in the preschool and also the school age. So it's about like 12 years old, before the 0 and the 12 years old. And then I will introduce the factors affecting the quality and the quantity of play. So what are the factors and what influence the child? They will have good quality and they can play very well and they can enjoy the play activities, and also in play activities they can improve and they can get their functions in their play. And then finally, I will give you a game time. So it will like a test in Kahoot. You also heard about Kahoot, right? So I will have a test, a game time. And if you got good score, and I will give you some points in your final test, in your final score. And the second class, in our second class, I prepared some board games. I told you that you can think about your own games or any toys you want to analyze in your midterm assignment. But I'm afraid you don't have any ideas. So today I prepared many board games. So for our second class, you have the board game time for you. Okay. So in the first, I want to give you some definition. What we want to introduce the play and introduce the play and playfulness. Before that, there's some definition you need to know. The first one is sensory motor. So it's combined the sensory function and the motor function, especially in the process of receiving sensory messages. So it's including the sensory input to our body, and then we need to do some outcome. We need to output the motor activities, the motor output. So they will produce a response. So the sensory motor gains usually happen in the child in an early age, about 0 to 2 years old. And the second one is the symbolic play. So the symbolic play, it happens
when your child starts to use object to present something, to like symbolize, to present something. Also, it's like the pretend play. So you can imagine, maybe you can imagine your ball, you play a ball, and you can imagine the ball is like your motorcycle. So you can have the creation of object. And the third one is the cognition. Cognition, the opposite of cognition is like sensorial motor. Cognition is from your mental. So the cognition is the mental action. It's the mental action and the process of gaining or acquiring knowledge. And you can understand something. You can understand something and you can output. You can do some problem solving and you can think about the thinking process or the clinical reason. So you can think about it. And also when you do some tests, you also use your cognition function. And the last one is manipulation. Manipulation is related to your fine motor. Your fine motor. Last time I told you the gross motor and fine motor. So manipulation is related to your fine motor. It's especially in your hand activities. In your hand activities. So the manipulation is the action of manipulating something using a skillful manner. So you can be very skilled in some activities when it needs your hands to do. Alright, so we need to think about what is play and playfulness. The first part is the characteristics. We need to know some characteristics of play or playfulness. So if we in a play activities, we always need to make sure or ensure your child they can have their intrinsically motivating. The motivation is from your inside. So it's intrinsically motivation. So it's from your nature. It's from your nature. It's like your habit or it's related to your interest. So it's like an intrinsically motivation. So it's like if the kids feel unhappy or uncomfortable, he will positive present. He will present like crying or looking for something, or he will turn around his head. So in the intrinsically motivation, we need to ensure if you create or if you plan some play activities, you need to motivate the child, and then he or she will be very willing to participate. So the first one is the intrinsically motivating. The second one is the pay more attention to process rather than product. So last time I talked about we don't need to care about the product is perfect or not. We all need to think about the process. The process, if the child in the process is happy, and then it means you success in these activities. So we always need to pay attention or more focus on the process. For example, when the child do some drawing activities, and he will feel very happy, and he can involve a lot, and he can gain some joy in the games, in the activities. Then that's okay. You don't need to think about he need to do a perfect drawing. So or for example, the child, if he play the clay, so he can do anything he wants when he play the clay. He can do some animals, or he can do anything he wants. So he don't need to follow other people's instructions. So the second part is we need to process. We need to pay more attention to the process. And then the self-generated. The self-generated, it's a little bit like the intrinsically motivating. It means you are willing and you like to do something. You like to do something, and you do by your own. You do by your own. You don't need other people's help, and you really involve in the activities, and then it will automatically gain something in the process. And then the free from external imposed rules. External imposed rules, it means there are some rules from outside. So if we have some limitation for the child in the activities, or we construct some rules for the kids, and then he will feel no freedom in the activities. So usually we will give the kids a lot of freedom to choose what he wants and how he wants to play in the activities. So he can enjoy it, and we don't need to really care about the rules in the process. And the next one is the active engagement. Active engagement. So if you really involved in the activities, that means play. So it's not just pretending you are in the part. You are in the participation. So you need to really think about the games and or the play, and then you really involved in it. So it's active engagement. And the last one is the fun part. If the play is fun, if the play activities is fun, it means playfulness. The child can gain the playfulness in the activities. So he can present some good temper, or he can have some emotional output. So that means the child can gain some fun in the play activities. So that are all the characteristics in play. We all need to think about it. So what is the play or playfulness in the function part? As I mentioned it before, there are some functions of play, especially in the motor, sensory, and the social. So the motor function, including the fine motor and the gross motor. The fine motor and the gross motor. The fine motor, especially in hand activities. So we usually in the hand activities, we play like board games, or it's more quiet in indoor. But as opposite side, the gross motor, we usually like do the activities in outside and do many upper or lower extremities activities. So that is the gross motor part. And the second one is the cognition function. The cognition including the perception as well. The perception is the lower level of cognition. And the cognition actually means the higher level in our mental process. So we all need to think about the perception level in the low level and the higher level in the cognition level. For example, if we can see something, it's the eye function. It's usually in the low level. And we can distinguish, or we can tell what's the difference from the red and the red or the green, the color. It's all in the visual perception level. And the visual perception level, if we are going to the higher level, you need to have more difficult part. For example, you can tell what's the difference between the number. For example, if you do some math part, it's more related to the higher level of cognition. But it's all related to our visual function. So we need to think about the perception and the cognition. So usually the perception part, you can think about it's all related to the sensory motion, sensory function. So if we make it in hierarchical level, 像楼梯一样 hierarchical level, the lower part is the sensory function, 感觉功能 sensory function is the lowest level. And then we are going to the next level is the perception level. Perception level is the 知觉功能 perception level. And then the highest level is the cognition. And the next one is the social function. Social function. Social function, including the interaction between others and how we can, and how we need to present or how we behave in our cultural context. Cultural context. For example, if we in different country, we have different behavior. So it's also in the social function part. Okay, and then the creation. Creation means you have some ideal to do different activities, creation. And then the emotion. We usually have many child, they have emotional problem in our intervention. So those functions are the functions of play. So which means if the child has some dysfunction in those parts, we can use the play activities to give some intervention for this child. Okay. So what is the definition of play and the playfulness to be used in our OT? This is from your textbook. And last class, I mentioned some definition in our Taiwanese professor. But this is from OT professor, especially in our OT. So the founding, you need to memorize this person because you will have this person. You will have this definition in your national license test. So the founding in 1987 and until now, actually they give some definition of play and playfulness. The play is the transaction between the child and the environment. So we need to know about the play related to the environment. So it is a dynamic process. So it will differ at any conditions. So it is intrinsically motivated. Actually, our characteristics. There are lots from this. There are lots from this definition. So the play we need to make it to intrinsically motivated, and internal control. Internal controls means the child can feel I can control or I can master in these play activities, and not bound by objective reality. So I don't need to think about the reality. I can have my imagination. I can have my creation to do anything. So this is the three part we really need to care in our play activities. Also, you need to care about these three definitions in your license test. So we need to know it is not always possible for children to be in complete control of their environment or to fully determine their own reality. So play is considered to be a continuum. It's a continuum of behavior. It's not just like two sides of answer. actually play is a continuum. So playfulness is also a continuum of behavior, which are more or less playful depending on the criteria are present. So what are the criteria of play or playfulness? There are three criteria, especially in this definition. There are three criteria. So the three criteria of play or playfulness we can show in these pictures. So you need to memorize these pictures. So it's like a scale. It's like a seesaw. It's like a seesaw, 像跷跷板. So there are some scale or there are some weight in the seesaw, the scale. So there are three criteria in these pictures. As the definition mentioned before, there are three different criteria. So you can see in the top, there's internal and external. And it shows the perception of control. Perception of control. Perception of control. And the scale, there's a weight here. So you can, if the weight lean to here, the internal or to the external part. So it means I can have external control or internal control of this play. If the child feel I can control or I can master or I'm good at it, it will more become to the internal control. So the weight will lean to here, will more related to the internal control. So the first criteria is the perception of control. If the child can feel I can control in these activities, I can perform better, or I can do anything I want. So everyone wants to be a master in their life. So if the child can have internal control, it means they can get more playfulness. They can have more fun. So it's like a continuum. It's like a continuum. It's not like, yes, he got some playfulness. No, he have no playfulness. It's not like two answer. It's like more continuum. And the second criteria is the source of motivation. The motivation is the important part in the play. So when the child feel more intrinsic motivation, it means he just want to do it. He like to do it, and he can decide by themselves or by themselves. So if the motivation is from extrinsically, it means it's not really the child's like. So we usually like the weight to lean to the intrinsic motivation. And the third criteria is the supervision of reality. Suspension of reality. So if we can suspend the reality, so I can have more imagination and I can have more creation to think anything impossible. So usually we encourage the child to suspend. It means you don't need to think about the reality. You can imagine anything. You can imagine anything. For example, if you play you can sit on the chair and you can pretend you are driving a car. So it's suspending the reality. So it's free suspending of reality. So you can find if all the weight lean to the left side, you will feel more playfulness and you can get more fun in the play activities. So that's all we need to. That's all we want the child can evolve in. So the scale shows the play theory in funding and also in our OT profession. So you can see there's this means that it's a continuous， 这是一个连续状态 ，continuous 是一个连续状态。You can feel more playful or not so playful, and also the seesaw we prefer to lean to the left side. Okay, so there's some definition of the three criteria. The locus of control, perception of control, which means the degree to which individuals perceive they are in control of their action or outcomes. So we prefer the internal perception of control rather than the external. And the second one is the intrinsic motivation. So the player, the child, can have self-motivated and concern the purpose and process, and they can involve in the activities. And the third criteria is if you can suspend the reality, if you can lose or you can neglect the reality, the real yourself, and then you can have some imagination or illusion in the activities. And the final one, we need to distinguish, or we can tell how about the playfulness in a child. So the child will feel more playful or less playful. So if in our activities, play activity, we can tell if all the weight into the left part, the child is a more playful child. If all the weight into the right side, we can tell the child is a less playful child. Usually, if the child is more playful, usually they can master the play very well, and then he can gain more in the activities. And also, the child might be more positive. And also, if this side, the child will become more negative. So what's the difference from these two type of children? More positive children, they are more positive. They will think about more positive ways, and they always think about things. They can think more reasonable, and they don't blame themselves. But if the child is less playful in the right side, they always think about, it's also my destiny. I'm so wrong, or I'm not good at it. I'm always a loser. So their thinking process is a little bit different. So we also need to tell what the child is more like a playful child or a less playful child. Okay, so what's the prerequisite to play? Prerequisite. There are two parts we need to pay attention. The first one is the cueing, giving, and the reading. So we need to ensure the child can read our cue, or can present, or can tell what he wants. So the child needs to they need to know how to say to their advisor what they need. So that's the reading. And also the cue giving. As OT, we need to know how to give cue and read the cue from the child. For example, if the kids feel unhappy or feel boring in the activities, the kids will become more more attention, or they will like sneeze or go to the bathroom. So you can tell we need to change another games or change another play activities. So the first one is the cue giving and the reading, and the second is the feeling safe. Feeling safe. So when we set up a play activities, we all need to ensure the safety part, the environment is be secure or feel safe or feel comfortable for the child. So the child can feel free and they can feel more comfortable in this environment. So that are the prerequisites to play. Okay, so next part is the classification of play. So we mentioned about the Piaget. The Piaget, he defined some play play categories. The first category is the sensory motor. Sensory motor. It's predominant during the first 2 years of life. So when the child before 2 years old, he usually in the sensory motor activities. So the sensory motor activities, the characteristics is the practice and the repetition. Practice and repetition. So the child will explore in the first 2 age, explore the environment. They can manipulate any items in their environment, or they can tracing object, tracing people by their eyes, or they can manipulate using their hands, or they can feel their body schema to do some motor activities. So he need to manipulate, or he need to feel the body part and to explore the sensory motor. So we need to like set up a sensory motor activities for this child. So in the first 2 age, the exploration and the manipulation is very important for the child. And the next one is the symbolic play. Symbolic category. It appeared in the first year, and then the second and the third year. Second and the third year, it will become more and more. The characteristic is the pretending activities. Pretending. He can do some pretending behavior. Also, in the symbolic, using the language, he can present the child's needs by saying something. So using language is also the symbolic level. They can develop along with 2 words combination and any like understanding of the words, the language. They can use language to do some requirement. So in this part, influenced by the environment, and also move to the needing to the real things, and also they can imagine the object substitute. And the last part, last play category is the game with rule or the social play. So it's a more higher level of play category. So they can take the place of symbolic play and also they can have more concrete operation. And in this level, the child can know the rules. They learn how to follow the rules, and it will make the games more fun. So they start to accept rules in their play activities. So there are some competitive games. It's like a competitive games or cooperative games, like around the year of 5 or 6 in the child. So, for example, the board games, it's more related to the games with rules. And usually the child can involve those game with rule games, this kind of games, usually start from 5 and 6. It's before the preschooler. They can start to involve in these games. Not very mature, but they can start. And when he can really have fun, usually in the grade 1 or 2. All right, there are some play type. I categorize this play type by the cognition level, by the age, usually by the age. So the lowest level, the first one is the unoccupied play. You need to listen very carefully in this part because the internet, the Kahoot game is more related to this part. So the first one is unoccupied play. What is unoccupied play? Unoccupied play actually means the child, he in this game but really involved in it. So he can just be, for example, if you in this classroom, but your mind is not here, you just like a vegetable sit here. So the unoccupied play means the child is not playing or watching anyone. He just don't do anything and don't think anything or or anything in particular. He just don't do anything. He might stand or sit and just do nothing. So next time, if you have a chance to in some child activities or the playground, you can observe the kids' performance, the kids' behavior, and you can tell what kind of child they are in the unoccupied play. They don't really play anything or see anything. They just stand there. And the second one is the onlooker. In the onlooker play, the child spend most of their time watching others play. They just stand there over in the environment and using their eyes to watch what they are doing, but they don't really participate or have any interaction. They might look or talk to the players, but will not engage, will not involve in the actual play activities. But what they are doing, they just observing. They observe what they are doing, and then they also learn what he can do in the next step. So for the next level, he can go to this play, the parallel play. 平行游玩 or parallel play. So for as the picture shows, these two girls, they in the same environment. They are in the sands. They are in the on the beach, and they do some activities, but they don't have any interaction. They just play by their own. So the child plays alone, but with their own toys. Their own toys. And they don't have any interaction with other kids. They don't share or they don't like hanging the toys with others. The child plays beside other children, but no conversation. But communication might be limited or none at all. So actually, they don't have any interaction with others. They more focus on their own play. Do you think they have joy or they have playfulness? Yes, they have playfulness. They enjoy themselves. So in this early age, usually our child they can involve in the play but by their own. So it's usually happen in the like before 2 years old. So it's parallel play. And then they will go to the next level is the associative play. The associative play, which means they have some interaction with other kids in a play environment. In the associative play, they can feel comfortable. There are other children in this environment. Sometimes they can share some their device or their toy with others. The child plays with other children in this level, in this associative play. The play is not coordinated. It's not coordinated. They don't have their own goal. They don't have a goal to do something. They just play. They don't have any goal or final goal. They just do what they want, but they can interact or they can interact with other people. And then they have some, they may talk and share toys, but they are still independent players. Independent players. So it's always happened in the kindergarten children. They love to play together, but they don't have the aim, the final goals to do something, but they enjoy the associative play. And then they can do some constructive play. Constructive play is like Lego or the blocks. Building with blocks, making a road for some toy cars, or constructing a fort out of couch pillows. All forms of constructive play, as the picture shows. The constructive play teaches kids about manipulation or many motor or fine motor functions, building and fitting things together, and they can build together and take apart. So they can have some constructive or they can organize something. Cognitive skills are important here too, as a child learns to figure out how to make something work best. Whether it's a block tower, they can work together, or but it's the final part is not very important, but the process they can cooperate with others and stand up or sand castle that keeps collapsing. So usually they don't really care about the product in the final. So it's constructive play, blocks or the like they can build like clay or they can use like Lego. The next level, the next part is the cooperative play. Cooperative play. The children come together and play, and they can work together. So usually cooperative play, you need to have 2 or more kids together in a group of children with a common goal. So only when the goal starts in a play, it starts from the cooperative play. before that, we don't need, the kids don't set any goals in their play activities. So with a common goal or similar interest, they can play 4 more games. They have 4 more games to play, so they can follow some rules. The next level is a competitive play. It needs rules to follow. So for example, the soccer games or any board games. So the child can engage in competitive play. The rules and they need to follow the rules and take turns. And they need to learn some lesson taken from this type of play, and they can function in a team, and they know what the team's work and how to cooperate with others and follow the rules, and they have the end goal. They want to win the game. So it can be a very fun type of play. Yeah, if the child can have the competitive play, actually they gain a lot of fun. If your child win, they will get more joyful part. But be prepared to talk your child through it if they lose. Usually if the child lose in a competitive play, they will have some emotional output. But it's also okay, or it's also good for the child because they can learn how to control their emotion. Alright, so there are some factors affecting the quantity and the quality of play. So they are the component. So if we want our play have a good quality level, we love to have the environment or the people around the child. They are more familiar for them. So familiar people and object is really good for the child in the child play. They can feel more comfortable. They can have more freedom in the process, and also they are free to choose anything they want and what they want to do, or the rules of the activities. And then minimally the intrusive or directive give them more freedom and no barrier to play, less barrier to play. And then they will feel comfortable and safe in the environment. And the scheduling. What is scheduling? Scheduling means usually in the beginning we can schedule that we can give the kids, the child, the time schedule, what they want to do in today's activity. So the child can know in what time they need to do something. They need to do they need to do some process or some activities. For example, in the kindergarten, they have their own timetable in a day. So the kids can follow the timetable. So it will make their day more organized or constructive. So the scheduling is important for little children. You can use your own device, like cell phone or iPad, anything. You can go into the internet, and please go to the Kahoot. You can just go to the Google and type Kahoot. And I also need to go to Kahoot. And there's 2 small games. And who got the first 3 place player I will give you some point in your final score. So there's 2 games, so actually 6 people they can get the point. 等一下卡布有2个游戏，每一个游戏它会产生3个 winner， 就是第1名、第2名、第3名。那总共会有6个同学，我在期末会加分哦。然后每一个游戏其实它有人数上限，人数上限，因为我不知道，我尝试很多次要把它提高人数上限，但我没有成功。人数上限，所以你如果要玩的同学，或要加分的同学，你就要等下赶快要 login， 好吗？或者是你没有网络的同学，那你可以2个人一组，你也可以2个人一组，你可以2个人一组一起玩，你取一个 ，you can have your own team name. Okay, the game 1. I will give you the game pin number. Please type in the game pin number, or use the QR code, and and later you will get 5. You will get 5 questions. 50 people. We only can have 50 people. If you cannot participate in this game, next game you need to. The first question, match the activities. Match the activities with the related classification of play. So, see this picture. What kind of play? In this picture. You have 1 minute. See this picture, what kind of play, and then you can choose different colors of different colors. 26个人答对哦 ，OK。那你先叫91哦。OK, question 2。一样，看这个 picture， 它是哪一种 play？ 其实你速度越快，分数越高。好，下一题准备哦。True or false？ 这是对的或错的，只有2个答案。Based on Piaget's theory of cognition, the children do more make-believe games in sensory motor stage of play. 题目在上面。True or false？ 没有9个答对哦。第4题准备哦。True or false? The associative play means the children play together with no goals and no cooperation. Is that true or false? Okay. 这位同学犹豫很久。要差7个对，好，最后一题哦。好，还没有，还要看。牛仔炫好帅。Okay, the last question. In a client-centered play treatment, When the children ask, "Can I play this toy?" Which is more appropriate to reply? 看得到吗？第一个回答 ，Of course。第二个回答 ，You can decide what you want to play and how to play。第三个 ，You can play whatever you want as long as you don't break it。第四个 ，Oh, you like this toy。
我只会有点头脑对，
不错，好，我们来看这一场的 winner 是谁？第3名，恭喜若涵哦，报出来的要记得来跟我讲。第2名是嗨嗨嗨，第1名是炫好帅，
冰彩券赢了，
是冰彩券啊。哦，你好棒哦！你5题都对还是4？对4题。哦，对5题，果然厉害。OK， 好，下一场哦。等下这3位同学，等下下课来跟我报到。好 ，game pin number 要出来，80167，80167。你若来不及上去，你就赶快找同学合组，2个合组可以2个一起想答案。好了，50人买了，已经上线了。好了，我们开始喽。
我没信。
好，第1题。Simon says is what kind of playtime？ 包括 Simon says 就是什么？老师说了。
Simon says put your hand. Simon says touch your hand. Simon says touch your knees. Simon says touch your head. Touch your knees.
好 ，A B C D。好，现在领先。好，第2题。Which one is belonging to the sensory motor stage of play？ 哪一种？一个 hide and seek or stand and water play or wooden or horse catch chicken。这应该知道什么游戏了？这4种游戏类型，哪一种是 sensory motor stage of play？ 哪一种是属于 sensory motor stage of play？ Hide and seek 就是捉迷藏，然后沙水游戏，还有就是有木头材质的游戏，还有就是木头人啊，讲说木头人，还有就是然后抓小鸡。好，沙水游戏哦。好，很弱。好，第3题。The child watches other children's play, and then he asks questions and offers advice, but does not join the game. 这是哪一种 play？
Simon
我觉得同学越来越厉害，比起第一场这次答正确率比较高。这是 play 哦，16个同学答对哦。All right。哇，若涵屹立不摇啊，继续。第4题 ，Which statement is symbolic？ 哦，我写错 ，symbolic play is incorrect。哪一个叙述是错误的？有关 symbolic play 哪个叙述是错误的 ？The children repeat the play they learn， 就是重复玩，重复性的玩。They use tools in play， 使用那个器材。Usually develop in 2 to 3 years old， 2、3岁的时候发展。Language develops rapidly， 语言快速发展期。哪一个是错的？在 symbolic play 这个阶段。
我差不多。
A 是错的，A 是错，因为这个阶段是 sensory motor stage，sensory motor stage，OK。最后一题哦。好，若涵领先。最后一题。Which of the following statement about the type of play is correct？ 哪一个叙述是正确的？不好意思，字比较小。第一个说 symbolic play satisfies his playfulness, while game with rules doesn't. 看得到吗 ？The child does not engage in construction of play until about 3 years old. 这个人要是稍微好，最后的第3名，122，第2名，朱脸哦，第1名，孔佑涵，恭喜3位同学哦。好，那同学要休息10分钟，然后刚刚那6位同学来跟我报道一下，谢谢。